welcome Joe Cool, tough as nails, walked the whole Appalachian Trail. Every peak and valley wide, Joe took them all in stride. Now she's here on TRS, sharing tales, will be impressed. Hiking strong with a joyful glow, that's the legend of Joe Cool, bro.
JC, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Did you love your intro or what?
Wow.
I honestly perfection.
That is Josh killing it, nailing it every time. Yeah, I loved it. I like the beginnings. I think we're going to keep using that music, but yeah. Welcome to the show. I want to welcome everybody. We've been on break over the colder months, and we're back, season 3. We had a great year last year. We had from where we started to where we finished up, we had people on the show that I never expected that would ever want to talk to us. Some amazing people. I'm not going to start naming names because I'll forget one. We'll get in trouble. But look back, you're gonna know some names on there. And this year we're starting off strong. Hiking season has started, and I happen to know somebody personally who has hiked the entire Appalachian Trail. She goes by the trail name Joe Cool. We're going to get into how you can get a trail name, and you got to earn it. JC, welcome. I'm so glad to have you.
I'm very happy to be here. It's definitely not a walk in the woods, but a seat in the rocker.
Well, I've heard a few stories, and I've actually intentionally not heard them all. All your stories are great. So I just wanted to, before we get into some of the great stories of you on the trail, who were you before you were on the trail? Let's go back to say college. What type of person were you? Who would you ever have been somebody you thought would walk the entire trail at some point?
Oh, geez. The beginning. Sure. So honestly, it started when I graduated high school. I went to Australia, and then I went to Alaska in the same summer. And from both of those experiences, what I took out of that was definitely more from Alaska. I was just like, man, there is this world out there that exists that I can go exist in and be whoever I want to be and struggle in this crazy, these changing environments. And I love it. I love that. I want that struggle. That's the struggle that I want, to exist outside of, I guess, what we would call reality, and go somewhere else and be someone else. So fast forward, I go to college. My freshman year, I took a Maymester course, and that course was environmental art. And that it was all about just creating beautiful things in nature, using nature. But at the end of that course, we took a 2-week hike on the Appalachian Trail. We went to the Grayson Highlands. Our instructor was amazing. Carrie LaCharity was her name. Yeah. So she took a group of, I went to Chatham University. It was an all-women's college. So she took a group of young, mostly lesbian, all fantastic. I think there was 10 of us all together. We went to the Grayson Highlands for 2 weeks. And our purpose going there was to create art. So we build cairns, we, picked leaves and made designs. But I was getting this whole other experience during that time of realizing that I'm on this trail in the woods, and I can't get lost because I'm going to follow these white blazes. And this trail, I'm on it for a solid 2 weeks, never being in the same place twice.
I love it.
And then, and so it was just this realization that I can come back here after this trip. I can come back here at any point in time, get on this trail and walk for months. I can walk for months. I could walk for years. I could just keep going back and forth up and down the trail. But in my mind, it was I could disappear. I could go away. I could remove myself from reality and go to this place. And so I went back to school. I finished college. I'm at this point in my life, I've only dated women for the majority. I was a little punk rock. I had this like mohawk going on. I always had a leather jacket. It was like this cool little thing. I graduate college. I get a marketing job. Within a few months, I hate this job. I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? This is terrible. Life is terrible. And then I remember there's this trail that exists
that you don't hate,
that I don't hate, and that I can go and disappear and be what I want to be. And so in my mind, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. So for the first time in my life, I walked in to the job that I had. I walked up to my, manager at the time, and I quit. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I get back into my 93 Cutlass era.
That quick? Was it really that quick? Like, I'm done. I'm out. Like,
that was it. I quit that job. My parents had bought me a backpack when I graduated college. I threw that backpack into my car. I drove to REI in the South Side. I walked into the store. I walked up to the first employee that I saw. I held up this backpack and I said, what do I need to fill this with to get the hell out of town?
Jeez, you're like an after school special at this point, though. You know what I mean? Like, they just hug you like, you don't want to do this, like, or like, did they load you up?
So this was a guy. He looks at me, and he goes, where are you trying to go? And I say, well, I know about this trail. It's called the Appalachian Trail. And I know I can get on it and I can walk for months and I can be out there. What do I need to fill this bag with to get out on the Appalachian Trail and get the hell out of here? That's what I kept saying. I want to get the hell out of here. I want to get the hell out of here. So this guy tips his hat down and points at it. And there's this like big A with a T across it, right? And alongside of the hat, it says Appalachian Trail, Georgia to Maine. And he goes, I think I can help you with that. So he introduces himself. He hands me his card. He says, my name's B-Man, and I'm going to help you hike the Appalachian Trail. And I take that card, and he says, he gave me, he says, this was in, what month was this? This was in like July. This was in the summer. He said, the beginning of September, I'm taking this older woman out for a tune-up hike to hike the state of Maryland. He's like, here's her number. Here's my number. Call her, call me. If you want to find out what you need to fill this backpack with, like, come on this trip. That's where it started. I said yes. Because I quit my job. I was like, the next opportunity that presents itself, that's what I'm going for. I had this idea in my head about the trail, and the very next person I encountered is now my husband. But also is the person who set me on this path.
Like, if there are threads of your life, like somebody at that point was like, all right, she's messed around enough. Get her on, like, this is where she needs to be. Like, you just like a record scratch across where you were going in life to this. So like, dated women, worked in an office, angry little city punk girl type thing. And then 100%. You're like, I need to be in nature and I need to meet somebody who cares about these things. Like, that's
100%. Now, knowing this now, what I see it as is, and I talk about this a lot, it's the need to eject yourself from reality to reset your mind. And that's what I was unintentionally doing. I was trying to eject myself from my reality to reset everything. I needed a reset. I was so unhappy where I was in life. I couldn't understand why I was where I was. So in my mind, I needed to be physically somewhere different, but also moving in forward progress, right? And where better to do that than on a trail that is designed for nothing but forward progress. It's terrible.
Yeah. I love it. I can't but I have to get on to the next part, like the part where, all right, B-Man is help. So I don't want to skip that either. So B-Man's in your life. What are those next months before you get on a trail like?
Oh my gosh. Full of, well, first of all, he had to talk me out of not running away. So I took him up on the offer to go hike the state of Maryland. Here I am in my young punk mind. I'm like, I got to ride. I got to ride to the trail. I'm going to pack my bag. I'm going to hike way beyond where these guys are going. They're hiking the state of Maryland. I'm just going to keep going, right? I have this whole idea in my head that all these people were to me at that time was an out. It was an out. I had it.
Wow.
They were giving it to me. So I took them up on it. I got, and my gear at that time, like, I went to my parents' house and like rummaged around through all their old camping stuff. I got, an old ass sleeping bag that was super crusty. I had
that smell.
I don't even know if I had a camp stove or anything. I was very, very ill prepared. But in my head, I didn't care. I was like, no, I'll be good.
Did you have the 90-degree green army flashlight? Takes like D-cell batteries. It's just
probably yes.
Light of like half a candle power.
Yeah.
You're ready.
Yeah, like 6 pounds, just that one thing. 6 pounds. Yeah. Everything I had was super heavy too, but I had a really nice backpack. So I'm filling this really nice backpack with this really old gear that was worn down. Whatever. I didn't care. So I get in the car. Drive down to Georgia with these people that I don't know. And we hike. We get on the trail and we all started walking. Now, I realized pretty quick how ill prepared I was and how out of shape I was. In my mind, I'm younger than these people. There's no way they're going to be able to keep up with me, right? I'm just going to go. I'm out here doing myself. Oh, I also had I brought a lot of weed with me. Am I allowed to talk about that?
Of course you did. Yeah.
I did. And I had some other things too. So I had all of these things and I'm totally prepared to just be on my own, having fun in the woods, living my life. Day one, knees.
At this point in your plan, did you have an end game at all? Was it just like, and then we'll figure it out? Or was like, hopefully I'll be near a town where I can get a job waitressing or stripping, and then I get more money and I do whatever. Nothing, like it was just whatever. I'll figure it out then.
I had no plan. I had no plan. One second.
Yeah, I got it. That's fine. Hey, this might be a good time for. Oh, go ahead.
Telling my husband. He's got to come get his kid. So, I'm so sorry.
You're a mom. We just skipped to another part in the story, but like we let this. They can't. You're a mom. It happens.
Sorry about that.
It's fine.
Anyway, so I didn't have a plan. My plan was eventually get a job, find a town, get a job, see if I liked it, keep walking if I didn't. That was kind of where I was at.
Okay.
It was like it was like the second day. The first night that we went out, I felt good. Set up my tent, which was so old that the waterproofing no longer worked on it. Like it's like an old backpacker's tent. But my dad hitchhiked across country when he was in college with. And this is what I have.
It's going to be just as good. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. So that first night, we got B-Man, myself, this older woman. Her trail name was Red Up, we called her. And at that point, I was still just Joe. Everyone just called me Joe, right? And there was a third woman who came with us. Joanna, her name was. And she met us there. And in my head, I'm like, oh, this is B-Man's girlfriend. And she's coming to hike with us. So that first night, we did like 4 or 5 miles. And we're on the border of West Virginia and Maryland. we set up camp like right past the border. And I set up my tent. Red Up's got this hammock. She's struggling setting this thing up. And Joanna doesn't have anything. So B-Man's over there and he sleeps under just a tarp, right? So just a top, no sides or anything. So he sets up his tarp and he sets up, you know, Joanna's sleeping bag and everything. And he puts her under there. And I'm sitting there like, oh, how cute, you know, bringing his girlfriend on this hike and or whatnot. And then he leaves. And then we have the three of us who are like, I didn't even have a sleeping pad at the time. I was just literally in a sleeping bag on the hard
You're
ground.
in a bad situation.
This other woman like can't set up her hammock. So she's sleeping like this, like her whole thing, her whole setup was just like this. And then this other woman, he sets up under just a tarp. She's never slept outside in her life. And she's like exposed to the elements and just like, what the heck? Like, what am I doing out here? I didn't realize that they didn't know each other either. So I'm over here like, oh, how cute. And meanwhile, like they barely knew each other. She was just out there also
of a mini series on Fox.
So B-Man flipping leaves. And I fell asleep I was like, whatever, you know, I better get used to this. It's cool. So the next morning we wake up and both of these women were telling me, they're like, we were so comforted by your snoring. Like I had such a hard time going to sleep last night, but you were snoring and it was great.
Reminded me of Dad.
Made me feel so calm. Like I didn't have anything to worry about. Like, great. So B-Man does reappear and we keep hiking.
Have a great one. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. Treat each other well.